If you've ever wondered how a creative visionary can grow an agency from idea to impact, using brand, culture, and storytelling as fuel, this episode's for you. Jasmine RaeLynn is doing just that. Welcome to Elite Insights, where we elevate vision, amplify voices, and engage with purpose. Today, we're joined by the Jasmine RaeLynn, founder, and let me get this right, and Chief Creative Officer of, is it JR or is it Junior? That's one thing I was not sure about.
It stands for Jasmine RaeLynn.
Right.
But we're going to do business as the Elite Marketing Firm.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Founder and Chief Creative Officer of the Elite Marketing Firm. How are you doing?
I'm doing really nice. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us.
Well, doing nice and doing great.
Excellent. All the things that you should be.
All the things.
No, I love that. And before we dive too much into to your work, I always like to start with how you connected with Elite Collective. Essentially, what got you to this couch? So we'd like to start with like earliest memories of Elite Collective and or Carlos Imani of what kind of sparked it. Because obviously we been friends online for hella, just liking and sharing and giving props from afar, but always like to kind of level set of where that started.
Love that. Yeah. So for myself, I've actually been following your work, Carlos, for years. So like, I know we'll get to my story in a second, but like in undergrad, I went to school in the Midwest. And when I was out there, I wanted to make sure I kept abreast of the industry in Seattle and what was going on back home. And man, your name was popping up everywhere with all the research I was doing. I'm like, who's this Carlos Imani guy? Like, let me check him out. And so since then, I've been following you. Oh my gosh, dating myself. I've been following you really since probably 2009, 2008. So I've just been seeing your journey, and which is why you only remember seeing me on social media, because the power of social media got me on this couch, y'all. I'm telling you. And so through just me always following your vision and your story and your journey, and I've seen you grow into everything you have now, that's really how I've connected with you this whole time, is just through social media. And I believe my first time actually meeting you was about a month and a half ago at that event.
Yeah, the Bird Bar block party.
Yeah, the block party. And after all these years, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Carlos. I follow him. Let me calm down, Jasmine, calm down. So yeah, that's how I've always connected with you and just kept in contact as well.
No, that's actually really dope. One, just the fact, like you said, you could be somewhere totally else, right? And still have a way to stay connected to home, stay connected to what's going on, and be able to find folks and follow journeys. And I think that's one of the superpowers that social media has. I know there's a lot of, studies and things that have negative connotations related to social media, which a lot of them also, stand in some truth there with the addictive properties. But at its core, it is a great way to, one, get messages out, stay connected with community. And if you have a good plan and if you got a good PR person in your corner, you could help, to figure out what that journey looks like and be able to have impact in that way. So that's dope. That I was able to make that happen.
I didn't even know you were doing all that.
Not at all. So I think some of the best things happen when you're not trying, right? It's like if you just kind of living in your truth. And mind you, by all means, I've tried a lot of things, and I think I always fell back into my lane and things that when it really clicked for me, I was probably around 2013. I started the collective in 2011, but again, that was, trying to do some things and got a little bit more aligned. And again, it's always refinement as you're just growing as a human and figuring things out. But every 2-3 years, I would kind of get realigned to the mission. I started a clothing line with the flavor.
I saw all that. You was in photography, clothing, all these things.
And they were all things that brought me joy, right? But they all kind of brought me back to the mission. And for me, I think coming out of COVID was one of those things where that was the last realignment where I just kind of been on this constant trajectory where it was all right, let me create this space where I can help using our gifts, my gifts, to amplify other voices,
Love
right?
Love
and
that.
We've been very intentional about working with mission-driven organizations, people, and those things where it's all right, this is work that brings us joy, brings me joy, and is just more aligned. And it's one of those things, man, if it's for you, it's for you, right? What's for me is for me. just kind of staying in that alignment has been something that has that I've enjoyed to kind of fall into. And then that again brought us to Bird Bar Place and brought us to that day. Yes. And I saw you like walking up, and it's funny because like we go to a lot of the same type of events.
Yes,
and I feel like I either just missed you or like, man, I saw she posted, I didn't see her, and you're like me in
after work, I'm out of it.
Right. Or you might have 2 or 3 events in a day, right? And I'd be the same way where I'll pop up, you know, shake hands, kiss babies, do my thing, and then I'm off to the next event. And I feel like we've done that several times over the years. So at this point, we were both there at the same time in the morning.
It was bound to happen.
Exactly.
For us to be. And I just want to say, you're just watching your storytelling journey and how you tell stories in the communications industry has been beautiful. And it's been amazing. So I'm happy to be sitting here on this couch. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have you here for sure. So enough about me. We want to be here with the people really tuned in for. And again, just to level set, right? We're Elite Insights. So the whole purpose of what I'm looking to do is bring people to this couch that I had the pleasure of working with, that I've seen do awesome things in community, and to provide a platform, give you some flowers for, you know, you're doing your thing and it's a joy to see, but then also to provide value to folks that are, you know, in community. One, they might be, you know, in grad school or in school thinking, oh, I wanted to do something like that, but I don't see people that look like me.
Right.
So I'm sure you dealt with that too, where,
for sure.
you know, like, could I even do it? Like, who am I trying to even emulate? Right. And sometimes you got to, you know, do your own thing. So to provide that value and that inspiration for that next up and coming, you know, communicator, PR person, but also that potential client that might be like, hey, we've internally done a lot of this stuff, but we're ready to take it to that next level. What does that look like? How can I engage with you? So we'll go through, you know, your journey and some of the things of the awesome work that you do to see if we can also, you know, do some matchmaking and find a community member that could use your services. So yeah, without further ado, let's just tap into your story and what was that spark that pushed you to even create your own firm?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I fell into entrepreneurship on accident. And I say this all the time. I think it actually found me just being an entrepreneur in the marketing firm. So I grew up in Seattle. I went and attended Renton High School. Shout out to Renton, all my folks there.
Renton, let's go.
And just, you know, looking around, just growing up, I just always knew that I wanted to see people that kind of looked like me, talk like me, walk like me, but just had a higher education level. And I didn't see a lot of that here in Seattle with Black and brown folks, to be honest. So I really wanted to go to a HBCU, an historically Black college university. And so I decided to go to a school called Wilberforce University in Wilberforce, Ohio. And so after graduating from Renton High School, I was always a storyteller. I loved to write. I loved to tell stories and all these things. I was always infatuated with like the Watergate hearings and all these things. And so I went to school for journalism. So set sail, went to the Midwest, did my thing out there. Literally stayed for all 4 years. I had an amazing college experience at a HBCU, one of the best experiences of my life. Right when I graduated and was getting ready to go to graduate school, one of my professors was like, you know what, Jasmine, you might want to do something different than journalism. Journalism's kind of fading out and dying a little bit. Let's try something else. So with that, she kind of told me that I did pretty well in the PR classes, public relations classes. And I was like, okay, I'll take a look-see. And so by the time I started my graduate degree and I started doing some studying abroad, I was still in the Midwest with getting my graduate degree. But while studying abroad, I went to the University of London. And during that time, I had one of my colleagues who would just always see me on my laptop or on my cell phone. And one day she was like, what are you doing? What's all this work that you always have going on? And like then, back then, kind of like I do now, I'm all over the place. I have tons of clients, tons of people. I make all kind of connections. I'm at one event working, then going to the next event. And she kind of saw that just in our own way in the dorm rooms. And she was like, well, you know, you could be getting paid for all this work that you're doing. And I was like, paycheck? Like, I could get paid for this? And so once I actually realized that what I was doing was actually, in fact, public relations and actually, in fact, just being a publicist is what I do naturally. Once I returned back to the States after studying, I really looked up, okay, how do I get a business license? And back then it was Ask Jeeves. It wasn't Google or none of that. So I literally just
Shout out to Jeeves.
Right? Shout out to Jeeves. I literally just threw in Ask Jeeves, like, how do I create a business? And lo and behold, it was like $25 or something. And I'm like, Oh, okay. Well, let me get that out the way so I can actually do this in the more professional, proper manner. And it's been 15, almost 16 years since that moment. And it's the best thing I've ever decided to do. And so honestly, that's how my marketing firm kind of fell in my lap, just kind of on accident.
No, I love that. And again, we were just talking about how some of the best things, they just naturally fall in place.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, everyone has like their own thing, divine and, the universe and whatever it is, right? Magnetism, whatever it is. But I'm such a firm believer of what's for you is for you.
Absolutely.
And then I just had a great talk the other day with someone about, and I bring this up because I literally see you kind of living this, or at least attempting to. That's the part that we see. But of being able to find and living in your joy.
Yeah.
Right. And then joy can be defined a couple of different ways. But for me, I'm like, all right, I think that you can live in your joy when you can find that balance or that crossroads of, doing something that you're good at and something that you love to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And then for me, it's like, I love music, but I can't sing. So me trying to pursue that would not make sense.
Don't work.
But I got to be around music through photography, through video. Right. And there's ways that you can kind of make that happen. Right. But then also being able to live in that joy of finding out, all right, what makes sense? What can I wake up doing? What am I naturally good at?
Yeah.
And then how can I monetize that? Because unfortunately we live in a world where you got to make those bucks to handle whatever your lifestyle, family, etc. And just to hear that, it's like it just kind of reinforces that. I'm like, yes, you're living in your joy.
I'm a firm believer in I'm a believer in God, and I always let Him use me and let Him guide me through these things. And like literally, a lot of the things that I'm doing is led by Him and guided by Him. And I'm so blessed to be in a position where I can live my dream job, right? Like I can literally do exactly what I want to do, how it needs to be done. Just the world of entrepreneurship, right?
No, and that absolutely. And like you said, it's like it leaves less up to question, right? Where it's just like man, I'm doing what I need to do.
Yeah, and just the ability of being able to do something naturally. So like I love to talk, y'all. I'm always talking to people, and naturally that has led me into this career of mine. And so it's just all the more beautiful.
Excellent. And what would you say is the heartbeat of the Elite Marketing Firm?
I say the heartbeat of the Elite Marketing Firm is that we actually do things in a digital way, but we also take things all the way back to the traditional side of things. And nowadays, folks kind of forgot about what things are like doing, what things are like in the PR world in the traditional aspect of things. So like, for instance, if social media crashes today, right, everybody's going crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't run my campaign. I can't do this, can't do that. But if you know some traditional side of things in communication in the PR industry, you'll be just fine. And so I think with the Elite Marketing Firm, a few of the things that we noticed while working with colleagues and being in the industry is that a lot of firms are actually lacking that traditional side of things and going straight towards digital. So that's something that we do pride ourselves on. And also just really being like grassroots led, right? Just really allowing for our clients' work to really speak for themselves and kind of champion the work that they're doing. Naturally, something that I've always do is I like to let people, places, things, products, whatever have you, shine naturally. I just like to showcase the beauty of all those things. And with that has just really worked out. And that has been something that the marketing firm really, really, really appreciates that we can provide for the community.
No, I love that. And it's so true where it's like one of those things. And if, something gets shut down tomorrow, because like all these things, a lot of it we don't have control.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, it's like, it's cool to have that Facebook group, but if Facebook wants to, shut that down or do whatever, it's going to be gone. And you've seen a lot of resurgence of go back to that email list, something that you can kind of own or some other way to develop community and have it. And they're all tools. Like I tell all my clients, have all those things. Have, if you want to communicate, you got to meet people where they're at.
Exactly.
Depending on your target demographic. If they're there, which, 89% of the world or whatever the latest stats are on one of those things, right? Platforms. The Facebooks, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the something. But there's still something to be said for folks to, open up an email if it has something of substance or physical mailer.
Or going to get the physical paper. I as young as I look, I'm really an old school head, and I'm old school at heart, and so old school really is key. So it's those things you're talking about that a lot of folks in the industry lack, that the Elite Marketing Firms make sure that we keep forefront of our business and stuff.
No, I love it.
Yeah,
so no matter which direction you go, what kind of curveballs come,
we're good.
You know, we're good to go. And then also one thing that people forget is just the art of, you know, human contact, right?
Yes.
Of having
Picking
some kind of social
phone.
forum,
yes.
You know,
face to face, picking up the phone. Yeah, getting off of social media. I truly agree.
And I think it's more of a and instead of a or.
Yeah.
You know, in that sense. And then how does the creativity in your work, in your leadership style, how does that show up with the lead marketing firm?
Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. And when I saw that question, I was like, oh my gosh, how do I answer this question? I get this question a lot, and I always have trouble answering it because what I realize is the more organic that I can be, the more creative comes out through my work or through my projects with clients in the elite marketing firm. I'm also realizing the more I connect with clients and with their stories or what they're trying to convey either to the media or to the audience at large, the more that there's a connection there, it's like the more there's this synergy, right? And that kind of leads the work too in that regard. And so I think with those things, is really like the catalyst of where my creativity kind of sparks. And then through that, gosh, I've been a storyteller since I came out of the womb, literally. So I can take something so small, and as long as like I'm sold, I can rock with it, run with it, and be as creative as possible with it.
No, I love that. And yeah,
and I'm realizing it like my kookiness, right? I call it kookiness, but people call it my creativity, and they love it, and it actually works. It's wild.
No, I love that. And I think it's such a gift to see when people, and it amazes me every time I see it. A lot of times I get that backstage kind of presence and stuff, but people will take like 3 bullet points and turn it into a 30-minute conversation. I'm like, where are you pulling that from? Like, that's amazing that you're able to do that. But yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love how you said like you're leading with the clients, right? In terms of like letting them plant those seeds, and then you can nurture that in a way to communicate those ideas. We operate in a very similar way. And me personally, I think I'm undiagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. But I think for me, it's kind of like a superpower in the sense of just having conversation allows for ideas to spark for me. So like I get so much more from small groups, whatever, where people are, you know, throwing stuff at me, and then I'm able to kind of take that and like, all right, well, what if we did this with this, and just be curious,
collaborative
right?
work, for
exactly.
Sure.
And for me, it's like way more fulfilling. But it's dope to see like other people leading with the client, because so many times you see folks where it's like they want to kind of come in and take over, and there's a lot of like savior mentality and stuff around that.
Okay,
but when we lead with like, man, community knows what community needs. It's just a matter of, you know, taking those ideas. How can we pull that out of them in a way to articulate it or to communicate it with the masses or with a bigger part of community, but allowing them to own their narrative and speak, you know, not put words in their mouth, but, you know, maybe provide that bridge to help them get from point A to point B instead of trying to just take it over and like, oh, I know what's best. And it's like, but do we? Because I mean, if we're going over years of research, the survey would say maybe we don't know what's best for a community. Maybe we should listen to what community has to say. So the fact that you're doing that and practicing that in real life, I feel really good about that.
Absolutely.
The community's in good hands.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And something about public relations that I really enjoy is that although the umbrella of PR, right, is the same essentially, it's different because of our story, or our clients' stories, and because of the things that they're sharing with us and what they want their narrative to be in the public eye. So I think clients, they reign over everything, and they really direct the work that we're doing as well. So yeah, that definitely has to be number one.
That's dope.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Perfect time for a segue. So our segment 2 is our amplify section of the conversation.
Okay.
You know, we led with elevate of you know, elevating your story where you started, but let's talk about what you got going on now.
Okay.
Can you take us behind the scenes of a project that you're especially proud of, either currently working on or might have just wrapped?
Yeah. so I'm actually super excited about my new series that I have. It's called Jazz Around the Town.
Come on.
Yes, it's so exciting, and it's produced and aired by Brown Style Magazine. They are based out of the East Coast in Philadelphia. Shout out to Brown Style Magazine, our Brown Style fam. And basically, I'm a host of a series called Jazz Around the Town. And with that series, I basically go around Seattle and I showcase the best of the best to tourists, visitors, and travelers. And I let folks know, like, why come to Seattle? Why is it so amazing? What's going on here? It's been awesome. Our primary audience are folks on the East Coast and on the Midwest, but slowly but surely it's been getting to Seattle, which has been awesome. Episode 1 was Pike Place Market, that has already aired. Episode 2 is the Space Needle, that aired today and some of yesterday. I think there's another part that's going to be released tomorrow. And I believe I have 9 more episodes left to air. So that's a project that I'm really excited about. Being a publicist all these years, for 15 years, I've really been behind the scenes. And so as of lately, I've been doing something different. Shout out to my mentors for getting me in front of the cameras. Look, guys, I'm doing it. So as of lately, I've been getting in front of the camera, doing things like this more. And it's actually been really joyous and really great. So I'm really proud of this new project that I'm working on.
Awesome. Yeah, no, in a similar boat where it's like we do so much for others, right? Where it's like, all right, let me, then when you apply it to yourself,
back up a little bit.
It's like, you can do it. You know what needs to be done, but then the act of doing it still feels weird because you're so used to being on the other side.
I'm so used to being behind the scenes, especially as a publicist for so long, making sure that my clients are up front. I'm normally like behind all these cameras, right? Making sure like, okay, is that question right? Like, so
talking
being
points
here, it's weird. And it seems like in my industry, sadly, public relations is dying out and it is fading out. And if you're a publicist and you don't have any other type of like things going on, you're gonna have to get it together. So you're gonna have to get in front of the camera. You have to do some marketing and some this and some of that, just to make sure that you're still relevant. And so that way you can let your clients know you're still relevant as well, and folks in the industry. So just like you said, it's wild being on the other side of things, y'all. Being on this side of production is crazy.
No, and that's good.
It's crazy.
You had just made a segue to my next question, was kind of like, what's a challenge you see businesses face when it comes to marketing and PR?
Yes. Oh, that's a good one. So a challenge that I see all the time is a lot of folks do not know how to properly brand themselves. A lot of people don't even know what a brand is. So if I say, hey, like, tell me a little bit about your brand, they're unable to do so. So that is something that I have experienced as a publicist, working with a lot of different folks.
Excellent. And yeah, no, that's, we deal with that as well on our side, because essentially we are given the brand package, right? The thing that is going to be ingested into a campaign that we're shooting or helping to co-create, or some kind of live event. And it's like, all right, cool. Where's your slide deck, or where's that? Like, oh, we ain't got that. Like, all right, it's well, like, not a problem. Let's rewind. What do we have?
Can you send your logo? We don't have that either. Okay.
Yeah, it's like we have a JPEG, no high res from 8 years ago, and that person's computer died, and we ain't got access to it. And like, alrighty, well, now would be a great time for a rebrand.
So you understand a little bit. Yep, that's absolutely. A lot of things I see. I want to say that's the most common that I see with small business owners and entrepreneurs that's just getting started. In terms of community-based organizations, some of the need that I'm seeing is their capacity is really limited, right? So a lot of the times I see a lot of CBOs, community-based organization, looking for people to help build their capacity in certain areas. And so with that, I've seen a lot of need for help with communication strategies or public relations strategies and plans and guides of things like that. So I want to say that's something else that's been pretty popular as well.
No, and you're touching on some great things. For us, again, it's like how Elite Collective can show up for a client. And like for us, we call our clients mission-driven people and organizations. So it's usually nonprofits, foundations, could be government agencies, or just folks that are kind of in and around mission-driven work. But capacity is so huge. So for us, it's like, all right, what do you guys do well? Yeah. And where are some of the holes, and how can we help fill those holes, or, in layman's term, put some paint where it ain't. But like really try to, see where that is. Because every every group's a little bit different. They could have that person that's high excelling in this area, but they might need some help in another. But they all need some sort of, rooted, marketing strategy, and that again needs to be, looked at every 3 to 5 years, because who you were serving 5 years ago, your neighborhood, your your people that you're serving may have also changed, and those needs may have changed, and things of that nature. But
with this technology and AI, it's going to change in about a couple of weeks, right?
Even more.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Even more.
Absolutely. And then, going back to the whole brand thing, it's like people sometimes don't understand that your brand is going to get seen before your mission is, right? So sometimes you can turn people all the way off, and this fly is going to
bother? Is it going to
all the
be
way
a bother
off
on camera? The fly. It loves you,
right? Jeez Louise. But the whole brand, like your brand is going to show up before you do, before your mission does, before your work does. And folks might be turned off if it's not, crafted in a way that doesn't look serious, that doesn't, they don't feel, it doesn't feel like it's professional. Because subconsciously we always look at things like marketing literally is the king of all things.
Oh, absolutely.
It drives what you want to eat today. It drives, the phone that you want to get, the car you want to drive, before you even realize it, right? So same thing applies to your organizational presence, where subconsciously it's like, oh man, they look kind of janky, I'm gonna assume that they're not doing the work.
Doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then that's very, very true. We see that so much at the elite marketing firm, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. And then how do you go about elevating your clients' voices while still honoring their authenticity?
Yeah. So what I like to do in that regard is I like to really nerd out with clients, right? So what that looks like on our side is I like to get in their business. Like, it's kind of like a marriage. So I like to know what are the ins, what are the outs, like a SWOT analysis, if you will, but I make it look a little more fun and sexy. And so by me doing that, I'm essentially understanding our client's narrative, their story, where they came from, what's been working, what hasn't been working, all those things, right? Then I also try to pinpoint where they're trying to go. And a lot of times you will find the entire story just right then and there from what the client shares with you. And then from that, it's this is how I know that I'm doing this work that I'm supposed to be doing naturally, because it's like it always happens through these 15 years. It's like from those conversations, I get this epiphany, and it's like, oh my gosh, like there's our story angle. That's how we can move forward. So I typically like to take bits and pieces of some of the angles they shared, and I'll exacerbate it, if you will, right? And lead with that to kind of hold the torch of the story. And so, for instance, while we're leading with that, I like to make sure that everything, like all the communications, all the communicated, anything that's going out really kind of follows suit to that narrative, but it also has to look the same as well with the brand and with the family, right? And so I really like to start off with that. And I feel like the only way that something can be authentically told in terms of storytelling is if the client owns their own story, right? Like it doesn't make any sense any other way. And so we definitely like to make sure that they're owning and holding their stories.
Yeah, no, I hear you there, and our friend agrees as well.
Yes.
And so like if you don't control your narrative, someone else will, and that's like one of the primary things is being able to tell your own story. Yeah. We take it. Usually, what happens is an organization will work with someone like you and craft up. All right, here's the story we need to tell, and at that point, they're hitting us up about helping them. All right, how are we going to tell this story? Right? We know the what. Now we have to work on the how, and that's generally through video production of like, okay, how can we capture this story? And then for us, it's like, I love to tell a story from a story. So like if you're doing work in community, let's go there and tell it from here, so we can visually see it, as well as you're telling it, you're telling the story as well. And that's so important is to own your narrative, because we've how many times have we seen books or reports or news things that's like, wait, hold on, that's not how it went down. That ain't it. That ain't it. No, that's dope though, for sure. And then next I want to kind of get into like what's next? What's coming up? What do you guys have? What do you guys have going on?
There's so much stuff going on with the elite marketing firm. So amongst still having our clients and still hitting the ground running with that, and really also having Jazz around the town, has been taking us all over the place. I think what I would like to do is I would actually like to go into teaching. I do a lot of webinars. I do a lot of seminars, a lot of public speaking. I do a lot of public speaking narratives that are geared towards like branding, how to start a brand, DIY, public relations, things like that. And what I'm realizing, since so many people want to hear this thing, why not go into teaching a little bit? So I think I want to go towards teaching a little bit to see just how I can really impact more youth and young adults. I really love to give back. And a lot of the times you have seen me in community, that's because I am working to give back in some way. And a lot of the times I do help uplift and work with young aspiring publicists or folks that also want to be in the industry as well, like communication professionals and things of that nature. And so I think teaching might be next, or something like maybe having workshops for community to come in to really learn about marketing and PR and branding. So I think that might be on our radar, like within the next year or less, for sure.
Well, that's dope. We'll definitely need to talk more about that. That's something that's near and dear with the Elite Collective, of figuring out. I've been very, very attuned in sense of like places that we've been fortunate and blessed to be in. There's not a lot of folks that look like us, right? Yeah, so I was very intentional of like, all right, if I got a little crack in the door, I'm going to kick that open and then I'm going to hold it open for folks to come after me. Yeah. But then part of that is also providing that roadmap, that assistance, because it's like, stuff, man, just because it was so hard for me, it doesn't have to be for you, somebody else, and how can we, shorten that learning curve and things of that nature. So I've been doing that unofficially for years. Just kind of
teach.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, no, like I said, part of it, a lot of it, for me, my journey started with photography, and I was self-taught with that. Yeah. So I don't have like this, like, hey, here's the 4 years of how you do this step one. My thing is like, man, if you really want it, you're gonna have to go and get it. And I was learning the era before YouTube University. You know what I mean? Where you could you could just literally look up anything you want and figure it out. But I was always having like an open door policy of like, man, you want to join on a shoe, be a fly on the wall, whatever. Yeah, come in and learn. And part of that is just, again, being real comfortable in self of like, what's for me is for me. Yeah. And especially when you're dealing with the creative, it's like, I could give you the exact same ingredients and your sauce ain't going to be like mine. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be totally different. So I'm very okay with that. So it's like, man, here's the cameras, here's the lenses, here's how I do things, here's why I do things. Me too. And be able to make that happen. And then I teach with Northwest Film Forum. They do, I think it's like an 8 or 12 week course where they'll do like camera and then lighting and then audio. And then we teach the live streaming section of that one and being able to do that. But during COVID, I had put together a curriculum, or coming out of COVID, I would say, I put together a curriculum kind of focused on workforce development, and there were some monies that were kind of going around that, and I put together this whole curriculum on that, where it's like two courses of like kind of a beginning and intermediate of like 8 to 12 weeks where they can come in and learn different aspects of what we have going on, and it's always just ever expanding. So during that time as well, during COVID, I had went back and got my degree in education. Nice, so for curriculum and program development. So like, it's like literally like, it was always a thing of like, man, we can't get funding for this, or we can't get, signed off for that. Got to have that OY dude in order to get anything. I was like, all right, let me go be that OY dude real quick, go get that degree. Let me figure it out. and not have excuses. But yeah, so that's one of my things of wanting to have space where everything that we do, like literally the studio that we're in right now, when we're done shooting, this could be a classroom. For absolute sure. I love that. Love that. So we'll definitely talk more on how we can put this together. That I've been teaching a lot lately in the public spaces, especially. I mean, I've seen people with like, in terms of hundreds have came out. And I did something recently with my sorority, was teaching folks how to build a brand from the ground up. A lot of folks don't know how to do that. And I realized that that's been a huge thing. So definitely keep a look-see to see what I have coming in the future to finish teaching our community how to do so. And then how do entrepreneurs and community builders, how do they collaborate with you?
Yeah,
How does that work?
yeah. So a way to collaborate with me, guys, is definitely on LinkedIn. I'll make sure I'll share my LinkedIn
For
information.
the professional,
for the professional
social
side
network.
of things, you guys will see my work on LinkedIn, Jasmine RaeLynn. And then on Instagram, I am at Jasmine_RaeLynn. And from there, you guys can take off and like and see and follow any other pages that I have.
And they can just connect right there.
And they can connect right there. And in terms of folks that are actually like community-based organizations, or folks that are actually looking for public relations work, or looking to learn how to brand themselves and do all these things, www.theelitemarketingfirm.com, or JR. Let me start over. www.jrtheelitemarketingfirm.com is our website. Definitely feel free to check us out. And on there, you will see my email as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And then what's some advice that you would offer someone that's launching their first creative brand?
Yeah. So I want to take it back, actually. And the advice I want to give is something that I hear a lot, which is folks want to know how to brand themselves. Okay, guys, I'm talking to you guys. So I would say first, understand what a brand is, right? So that way, while you're building a brand as an entrepreneur or someone getting started, or even someone in your business, understand what that is and what that looks like. The next thing that I would say, and I tell people this all the time, so Carlos, I'm so happy you said this, is you got to define yourself before someone else does, right? Like, you got to know what your values are, your mission, your vision, what you stand for, and really be all those things before someone else tells you that you're not those things. That's all a part of brand building. I say once folks get to do that, at that point, really understand who's your target audience and who you're going to be kind of talking to or selling your items to or conversing with. Really understand, like, what do they like? What are things they don't like? Where are they at? So that way you can kind of show up in their space. And then I would say from there, really own your voice and tone in your message, right? So like when you are showing up into the space, what are some things that you can share about your brand or your company or your business? And then after that, I would really go into, which is something a little bit more deeper, but how we talked about earlier, how to monetize your brand, right? How to monetize all the work that you're doing, the things that you're doing, and really taking it from there. But for starters, I would say, just to really get your feet wet, is just knowing what a brand is, like the actual definition, and really defining yourself, getting your messaging together. Oh, and another thing, making sure that when you're getting your messaging together and your content and all these things, you want to make sure you're super consistent with it, right? Especially on the virtual landscape, whether it's social media, website, all these things. Just having some visual consistency, I think, is key. And yeah, those are some tidbits that some folks can really just kind of take and get started on a very small scale on how to build a brand.
No, I love that. And what I do to piggyback on that, and we did a bit of self-discovery last year as I was going through a rebrand with Elite Collective, is really diving into your why.
Yeah, that's huge.
I feel like brands that have been able to last the test of time have a very strong why.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know what their why is, you can see it visually through the consistency and the branding that they have shared. You might not know their mission statement, their vision statement, but you get it through the way that they, like Patagonia, for example, right? Like they've been a very consistent brand. Like I didn't realize that, you can bring back stuff so they can recycle the material.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're about it.
They're about it.
For me, it was always on something like that wasn't necessary for me. It seems a little overpriced to go to the go hiking, but I get it. It's a very quality product.
Absolutely.
But they stand on business.
They stand on business.
And I was like, oh,
you gotta define yourself and be consistent with it. And just like, I love that example, right? So just like we already know, for example, that maybe everyone can resonate with if you're not hikers, things like that. iPhone, right? We know when that new iPhone's coming out, August, September. It's like we know what to expect. We know to watch this and do that and do this. So like these things that these folks have set up for their brand ahead of time, they were consistent. They defined themselves, right? They knew exactly who they were before they showed up. They know what a brand is, so that's how they can show up in the space and really monetize and own that space. It's really all connected.
Yep. Yeah. I feel you. And then, Apple is another great example. That was one of the other ones that I helped me realize what I wanted to do with my brand is going with a power word. Like they're super good with that of just having like one word that's just going to define whatever it is that they're coming with. So like for us, it was like coming out of COVID, right? It was like, all right, we can do everything.
Yeah.
And whoever got a budget, we do that.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, now we can get a little refined, because it's difficult to have the 72-minute elevator conversation. What do you do? Everything. So for us, it was like, all right, we do 3 things. We elevate, we amplify, we engage. And that was like coming from Apple, who's done very well in creating their marketing and their voice and all of that. And that's something that I pulled from that of, all right, what's going to be our power words, moving forward.
And keeping in mind too, that it literally takes time to build a brand. It literally takes about 7 years, right, for your business to get booming and be something. It takes about that long to build a brand. And then by then, guess what? You have to go through a whole brand refresh anyway, right? So it takes time. So that's another tidbit I want to share with folks is don't be so hard on yourself, because it takes time to really, really build your brand and to build that sustainability and your reputation as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, you can build something new and shiny and amazing, but a big part of your brand is your brand's ability to connect with community or connect with customers. And a lot of times they define what your brand is in a way, right? Where you present it in a way, and you want to, if you've done it well, you've defined your target market. And if you're able to ingratiate yourself with them, they'll help reinforce what your brand is.
Absolutely.
But then sometimes, things get taken over by, other segments that you had no idea were interested. And then you might need to realign, either dive in, or maybe I need to reel back and like, okay, we're going to go in a different direction and figure some things out. But yeah, no, that is so true, where it's like, again, be open to change, be open to, doing some refinement, taking a look underneath the hood every 3 to 5 years is healthy.
Okay. It's healthy. And I want to say too, just for the folks that are watching that may not know what a brand is, right? In layman's terms, guys, a brand is just that fuzzy feeling that people get when you leave from the space, right? So when I leave from Carlos's presence, right? When I leave from here, what is he going to say about me? What's he going to think about me? Like, what's the engineer back there? Was she awful? Was she amazing? Was she these things? So that basically is my brand, right? And essentially, it's a lot more straightforward than what most people think it is, but it's literally that simple of a definition, that fuzzy feeling that you leave people with.
No, absolutely. Then that translate into what font do I want to use?
Oh yeah, we can get all jargony. So
that can match that fuzzy feeling. And what colors match that fuzzy feeling?
And so those are the brand assets, y'all. So there are differences between your brand itself and the assets that go with it. So what Carlos is talking about is the brand assets. So you got your brand fonts, your brand colors, right? You got your logo. So all those are assets of the brand, but your logo is not your brand, and your brand colors aren't your brand. And so, once you get that established, and like Carlos was saying, like, you got to know who you are and define yourself before someone else does. That is so true, because we definitely live by the same creed. Once you define who you are, everything else will follow suit in terms of all the assets that we're talking about.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm loving all of that. Dropping some jewels for the folks, for sure. And it's like, just having that alignment, because a lot of times, you'll hear about their mission and you look at their logo. I'm like, those are not speaking the same language. They're not cousins. They don't got
those are totally
they're not even
different.
Adopted. Like they're just no. That does not work.
And what I'm realizing is that a lot of folks really don't understand that, though, Carlos, and it's okay, right? It's okay, and that's where people like you and I come in and do our thing, because a lot of people don't know that it's okay. You know? You
got to start somewhere.
You got to start somewhere. It takes time.
Yeah, no, but at the very least, so like you were saying, is like, define your, for yourself what it is. What is your why? What is your mission? What is your vision? What do you want to do with this brand and out here in the world, and how can you go about doing that? But figuring out what you want to say, and then who do you want to say it to is the basic thing of how I kind of jump it down for a lot of our clients, and trying to figure that part out. Jesus Christ,
he really likes you for whatever reason. He is like
all over me,
all
bro.
in your eye and all on your shoulder.
All over me, bro. Killing me, Smalls. Let me go back to that.
Okay.
Get a little cut. All right, what was I talking about? Why? Okay. Yeah, so a big part of it, again, is just being able to, making sure everything's in alignment, right? Yeah. So for us, when we're having conversations with folks, it's like really kind of drum down of what is your why, right? And that will help you define your mission, your vision, so you can figure out some of these things moving forward. But within that, it really is just very simple of figuring out what do you want to say, right? And that can be literally what do you want to say, or that could show up as a product or a service, right? That's what I mean of what do you want to say. And then who do you want to say it to? Yeah. And that's defining that target audience and being able to drum that down. But if you have those two things, you're well on your way, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Now we get to the fun part, our quick fire round. So we're going to pop out some questions. These are quick answers, just top of your mind and throw them back to me. So what's your go-to source of creative inspiration?
In my hammock.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. You have to go into that a little bit.
Okay, so I it's so difficult for me to relax, take a seat, and sit still. I'm learning. And so for me to have to rejuvenate and become creative again, I need to separate myself from everything. For my birthday recently, I just made a backyard oasis, and I have this beautiful hammock. And I realized when I go in there and just kind of relax and take a seat, sit still, my creativity just starts going and going and going. So I like to kind of separate myself from others and kind of be alone. So I think when I'm alone and kind of in my like little recluse mode, I can do just that.
I love that. A little recharge.
A little recharge. Be creative.
I love that. What's your favorite campaign you've seen in the last year?
Ooh, that is a good one. Oh my gosh. It wasn't last year, but it was the one during COVID. Chaz really got to me. Really got, and I say Chaz, y'all, because although it wasn't necessarily a campaign, it was our movement that we did, right? With that movement that we did with Black Lives Matter and all these different things with Chaz, it was beautiful because just going into the Central District or certain areas in Seattle, you visually saw artwork and pain and beauty through through this campaign, so to speak, right? And it was just like, I haven't seen anything else like it. And I want to say, I don't want to boil it down to a campaign because that's really dummying down all the fabulous, amazing work that folks did. But I also want to use the word campaigning because that was the only way that folks can really get their voice through, was this whole guerrilla style, in your face marketing with it. But they did it so beautifully with colors and art and chalk and crayons and like, oh my gosh, and paint. And so I want to say that really like hit me because it's just so creative. And I haven't seen something like that in a very long time, with just folks trying to get their voices heard in that same, what we were experiencing, we saw in so many other cities across America as well. But Chaz was in Seattle, of course.
No, I love that.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest myth about marketing and PR?
Oh my gosh, that everybody wants to run their story and everybody's story can be on the news and publicists can get everybody on the news.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, so we will try our best, but
that is hilarious.
Yes, I love
or
that.
that we are PR girls and PR guys. That doesn't make any sense, but
I love that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That we do PR, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, that fly really loves you.
Man, never seen him before in my life. All right, next one is coffee shop brainstorm. So we're talking morning, or are we talking a late night work session?
I'm a morning person, so I definitely love mornings. However, with my 16-year-old, things can get hard. So lately, I've been up at the late night in my creative loft getting things done.
Okay, that's what's up. And if your agency had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh, God. The first thing that popped in my mind, I don't even want to say it. Who let the dogs out?
There you go.
Because we're just like, ooh.
On it.
We're on it. We get the work done, y'all. We're on it, grassroots style. That is so funny.
I love it. No, that's awesome. And before we close out, I want to give you an opportunity to speak to your camera over there. If there's anything that you want to say to folks, this is a great time to maybe paint the picture of like, who is that community member that is a good fit for Elite Marketing Firm, or anything you want to just share with the peoples.
Oh Lord, let me think for a second. Hi guys, my name is Jasmine RaeLynn, and I'm super duper excited to be here with Carlos and on the Elite Insights. I'm looking this way because I'm really trying to figure out what's the best thing to leave with you guys. And honestly, I think it's, if you are out there really looking just for branding and marketing assistance and public relations, or just really want to find ways to help make your spark glisten, go ahead and please reach out to the Elite Marketing Firm and myself, Jasmine RaeLynn. We also have a slew of different, hold on. Sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, no, you're good.
What do I want to say? Okay, let me pick back up. What do I want to tell people first? So I'm not looking for any new clients, but I'm okay if people reach out. You know what I mean? But I really want folks to like really understand the work that they're doing in the community and how their story matters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put this big front up or something. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So yeah, what I would like to do is I would like for, community-based organizations, for individuals, really tap into your story to see what's truthful and what really matters prior to reaching out to public relations firms or marketing agencies. A lot of the times your true story and how awesome you are in the work that you're doing really lies in your day-to-day I don't want to say struggle, but your day-to-day life and your day-to-day opportunity, right? So all the work that you guys are doing, hitting the ground running in terms of helping out the need of the community, that is where your story truly lies. If you guys are looking for someone to help build your capacity with public relations, marketing, advertisement, communication, I'm definitely your girl. Definitely go ahead and reach out to the Elite Marketing Firm in that regard. But you'll definitely see me around the town with Jazz around the town, also with Carlos. This is not our last time communicating and our last time networking. But yeah, I think that's what I want to tell people. I think I would rather have them own their story, use your story, and market your story in a way where everything really truly comes back to the community.
So as we wrap up, we got our founder spark to storytelling powerhouse. Jasmine showed us that bold brands aren't just built, right? They're birthed through vision, strategy, and heart. So, man, stay tapped in with her work at the Elite Marketing Firm. And again, Elite Insights. We elevate, we amplify, we engage. See you guys next time.
Thanks,
Peace.
y'all.